Please open in your learning workbook to page 212. We're now going to do several examples involving the change of base formula. Use the change of base formula to evaluate the logarithm, round to the nearest thousandth. So nearest thousandth means you have stuff in front of the decimal point and then 3 digits after the decimal point. All right, here we go. Here's our first problem. Log base 1/9 of 1/4. Okay, so we want to use the change of base formula because we cannot do log base 1/9 using our calculators. And so the way we're going to do that is to pick a new base. You can pick 10 or you can pick e. So I've got 3 problems today. In one of them I will do 10, in one of them I will do e, and then the other, I don't know which one I'll do, but I'll pick one. So for this one, let's start with 10. So we're going to rewrite this as log base 10 of 1/4 divided by log base 10 of 1/9. Okay, notice that I'm not writing the 10. The 10 is the base. It goes down here. The 1/4 and the 1/9 are the argument of the log. Okay, great. So now I need to enter this in my calculator. Now, if you happen to have a multi-view calculator, this is actually very, very easy to do. You've got fractions within fractions within fractions, and the multi-view calculator can handle that effortlessly. So let's do this with the multi-view calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a fraction, which represents the entire answer. In the numerator, I'm going to hit the log button. Notice that it creates parentheses for you. Then I'm going to hit fraction, and I'm going to make my fraction 1/4. Then close my parentheses. Down arrow gets me to the denominator, where I'll put my other log. So I'll hit the log button. It gives me parentheses. The fraction button, n over d. Enter my fraction, 1/9. Right arrow to get outside of the denominator. Parenthesis to close it, and enter. 0.630929754. Round that to the nearest thousandth, and we're going to get 0.631. Okay, now, what if you do not have a multi-view calculator? How are you going to enter that in your calculator? Well, you're going to enter it in your calculator the same way you've been entering things like this in your calculator for the entire semester. Anytime you have a numerator, put it in parentheses. A denominator gets put in parentheses. And so the way this is going to be entered is going to be parenthesis log. The argument has to be in parentheses. So parenthesis 1 divide 4. Close parenthesis for the log argument. Close parenthesis for the logarithm. Divide, which represents the fraction bar. Parenthesis log. Parenthesis for the argument. 1 divided by 9. Close parenthesis for the argument. Close parenthesis for the denominator. Enter. And if you put all of that in your calculator, you should get the same value, 0.631. I will now put this in my calculator and make sure that it is the correct way to write it. Indeed, I get the same value, 0.631. Okay, great. That's one problem down and 2 left to go. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one says log base 7 of 3. All right, let's use log base e this time. So that means this will be written as the natural log of 3 divided by the natural log of 7. Okay, this is very easy to put in our calculators. I have a multi-view, so I'll hit the fraction button, n over d. In the numerator, I'll put natural log. It gives me a starting parenthesis. I'll hit 3 and close my parentheses, down arrow. Natural log, it gives me a starting parenthesis. I'll hit 7, close my parenthesis, right arrow, then enter. I get 0.564575034. Rounding that to the nearest thousandth, I get that this is approximately 0.565. All right, how would I enter this in my non-multi-view calculator? Very easy. You put your numerator in parentheses, you put your denominator in parentheses, and you enter it horizontally. So we get parentheses, natural log of parentheses 3, close parentheses for the argument, close parentheses for my numerator, divided by, open parentheses, natural log, parentheses for the argument, 7, close parentheses for the argument, close parentheses for the denominator. And when you hit enter, you'll get the same value. Okay, great. One more left to go, and we can call not just this learning objective done, but the entire section done as well. Log base 1/5 of 6. Okay, great. So we need to pick a log base. Let's do e again. So this is going to be the natural log of 6 divided by the natural log of 1/5. Okay, putting this in the multi-view, I'll talk my button choices out loud. First, make a fraction, n over d. Then, natural log, it gives me a starting parenthesis. Hit 6, close parenthesis, down arrow. We're now in the denominator. Hit natural log, it gives me a starting parenthesis. Hit the fraction button, n over d. Put 1 in the numerator, down arrow. 5 in the denominator, right arrow. Close the parentheses, right arrow, and enter. Round to the 1,000th. And so this is going to give us approximately negative 1.113. Okay, how do you enter this in a non-multi-view calculator? The entire numerator in parentheses, the entire denominator in parentheses, and the division bar in between. So we're going to have parenthesis for the numerator, natural log. Parenthesis for the argument, 6, close parenthesis for the argument, close parenthesis for the numerator, divide. Open parenthesis for the denominator, natural log, open parenthesis for the argument, 1 divided by 5. Close parenthesis on the argument, close parenthesis on the denominator. Enter this into your non-multi-view calculator and you'll get the same value, negative 1.113. Okay, that concludes our discussion of logarithmic properties.